Hey guys, it's Liz of Consumed by Books, and welcome to my first video from my DC apartment, which is why I have a new bookshelf behind me. So thank you, people at IKEA. Even though I don't find IKEA shopping enjoyable, I actually think it's kind of stressful. But thanks IKEA for the new bookshelf and my brother who helped me assemble it. As you can see, I'm still kind of unpacking and organizing. But I do have some new books to show you because the book buying does not stop, even when I move. So let's talk about those. Actually, I only have one thing for review to show you. I have been getting a lot of stuff on Edelweiss and NetGalley, but the one physical book I have to show you is from Macmillan, so thank you to all my friends there. This is Mortal Danger by Anna Guire. I don't know too much about this, but I've heard generally good things about all of Anna Guire's books, so I'll be curious to read this one. And she's actually coming to DC sometime in September, I think on the 22nd, as part of the Fierce Reads tour. So I'm excited to see her then, and I'm hoping to get this read by then. I'm more excited to see the author of The Winter's Curse, Marie Rutkowski, but it'll be definitely cool to see Anne as well. And then I got one book signed. Rachel, who is Tiger Lily Rachel on Twitter, she used to blog at As Told by Rachel, but she stopped blogging. But she got my copy of Noggin by John Corey Wally signed, and he wrote, "For Liz, don't lose your head, John Corey Wally." I've met him in person and he's really nice. I couldn't make it to his signing because it was way too far away from where I was living in Iowa, but I was excited to get a signed copy of this. I still have not read it, which is unfortunate because a lot of people have raved about it, but I will read it soon, hopefully before 2014 is over. And then everything else is stuff that I bought. This is a lot. It's between about mid-April and mid-August, so maybe that partially explains it. And you guys also know I'm a book buying addict, so it's not like having a massive amount of books to show you is anything new, right? Here are two that I bought while I was still living in Iowa. I needed to run a couple of errands before I moved at the mall, just pick up things like I needed to get a nicer pair of sandals to wear to work and just get random things like that. And I decided to go to Barnes & Noble. I was like, you know, I'm already really stressed out about packing my books. What's two more? So I got a finished copy of Point by Brandy Colbert. I have already reviewed this one, and I did a giveaway of it around my birthday. This is about a girl named Theo who is a ballerina, and one day her friend named Donovan, I know it was something with a D, comes back after 4 years with an abductor, and this story is all about what happens when Donovan doesn't talk and Theo's trying to decide whether she should talk or what she should do. This is one of my favorite books of 2014. It is absolutely outstanding. Most people I know who have read this have given it 5 stars. If you have not already read it, but you love a good, serious, heavy contemporary, I highly recommend you pick it up. And the other book I bought during that particular incident was something that's kind of magical realism, and that is The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. I love this cover. It is actually kind of shiny in person, but I also really love the spine, how it has the gold feathers. I don't know a whole lot about this one. I believe that the girl is born with wings, but it sounds fantastic. I've heard really great things about it. A lot of people have really commented on the writing style, and so I am really excited to eventually read this one. When I left my job in Iowa, my coworkers were really generous and they gave me an Amazon gift card, so I got things. And one of the books I got was When I Was the Greatest by Jason Reynolds. I don't know a lot about this, but it is supposed to be very, very excellent, so I'm eager to read it soon. Another book that I got with that gift card is The Chance You Won't Return, which is by Annie Carty. This is a book about a girl whose mother is struggling with mental illness. Her mom actually thinks that she is Amelia Earhart, and I've heard nothing but great things about this. It's the author's debut, so I'm very much looking forward to reading it. I actually also got 2 DVDs with that gift card, and normally I don't show you guys DVDs, but I think these will have appeal to a lot of you. The first DVD I got is The Extraordinary Adventures of Adele Blanc-Sec. This is a DVD that kept popping up in Amazon recommendations when I shopped for work. And I got it for the collection, and one of my coworkers watched it and said, this should be an adult instead of children's. And I thought it looked cool anyway, so I decided that that was my cue to watch it. And so I took it home, I watched it, and I said, you are right. Also, this movie is awesome. So definitely check out this one if you haven't. It would really appeal to anybody who's a fan of archaeology or Indiana Jones. It's not exactly steampunk, but I think that this has a lot of appeal for steampunk fans. And then the other movie I got was Austenland. As you guys know, this is an adaptation of Shannon Hale's novel Austenland, and I actually liked this better than the book. Jennifer Coolidge is hysterical. If you don't know who I'm talking about, she was in Legally Blonde. But yeah, fantastic movie. Definitely watch it if you haven't. This is perfect for a girls' night. When I first moved to DC, there was an event with E. Lockhart, and I wasn't able to go, but I loved We Were Liars, so I ordered a signed copy from the store that hosted the event, and she signed it for Liz, Please Lie About This Book. This is a contemporary, and all I will say is that it is about a very wealthy family and kind of the drama that they experience throughout their years together. I highly recommend it. You've probably heard about it because it's been pretty seriously hyped. When I went to pick up that one, I picked up Charm and Strange by Stephanie Kuhn. Have not read this one yet, but I've heard very good things. It won the Morris Award last year. I did read her newest book, Complicit, which was very, very good, so it made me eager to give this one a try. And then this last one, I knew I was gonna buy a finished copy eventually. I didn't realize so soon, but it's Grasshopper Jungle by Andrew Smith. Already read this one, loved it, reviewed it. The reason I bought this is because I saw Andrew post on Facebook that second edition copies would not have the crazy green edges on the pages, and I wanted a copy of the book with that. So that's why I went ahead and got it. And then this is one that I pre-ordered. I pre-ordered it because I love this author. And it is Sinner by Maggie Stiefvater. This is actually not the publisher-made cover. This is a wrapper that came with copies of the books that were pre-ordered from certain indies. And so I got this. Ooh. See, I'll show you what the real cover looks like. And the real cover looks like this, which I'm not opposed to, but I think the wrapper is way prettier. And this is the story of Isabel and Cole from the Wolves of Mercy Falls trilogy, so I'm really excited to read this because I literally read forever and the whole time was thinking, Isabel and Cole really need their own story. And so I was really excited when they got it. And she just wrote for Liz and signed it. So I'm gonna read this soon. I actually think I'm gonna read this before I start the Raven Boys series, but I'm very excited to do so. As you guys probably know, Misty over at the Book Rat has her Jane Austen event every summer. This year it's Austen in August, and so I decided to use that as an opportunity to buy some Jane Austen books. I got the cloth-bound edition of Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. These are made by Penguin, and I already have all the other cloth-bound editions, so I'm just finishing off my collection. And then I also got a copy of Unleashing Mr. Darcy by Terry Wilson, which is a story about dogs and Jane Austen, and I love both of those things, so this is going to be a hit with me. Then the next book I'm actually a little disappointed in, but not totally, because, you know, how much can you really complain? It is The Last Sacrifice by Rochelle Mead. I actually have the original paperback covers that have the faces on them, and I ordered this from the Book Depository, hoping to avoid getting this cover. When I ordered it, the picture said it was the original paperback cover, but I got this instead. I'm not going to complain because it may just be that the paperback I want is simply out of print. But now I have the last of my Vampire Academy series, and I've got to finish this soon. This is surprisingly huge. I didn't realize what a big book this was. I bet it's going to be really fast because the first one was so fast, but yeah, it's massive. Next up, I have Froy of the Exiles, another door stopper. This is by Melina Marchetta. I recently read Finnegan of the Rock with Allie, and so we are going to go ahead and read this one together soon. Melina Marchetta is amazing. I didn't love Finnegan as much as Jellicoe Road, but that would be nearly impossible to do, so understandable. So I'm excited to read this soon. I finally got a copy of Lost Lake by Sarah Addison Allen. I read her books Garden Spells and The Sugar Queen, and I love both of those. So I'm excited to read this soon and read all of her others as well. Next up, this is going to surprise no one. I have Isla and the Happily Ever After by Stephanie Perkins. I pre-ordered it from Malaprops, and it's signed, For Liz, May You Always Find the Right Way, Stephanie Perkins. I reread Anna earlier this summer, and before I read this, I'm going to reread Lola, so I'm excited to dive into this. I've heard slightly mixed things, only in that some people say they had a few issues with it and some people absolutely loved it. So we'll see where I fall on that spectrum. I went to Jessica Spotswood's launch party for Sister's Fate because she lives in the DC area. And I read book 1 right before the launch and really enjoyed it. So I got a hardcover of Starhurst, which is book 2 in the series. And she wrote, Liz, Make Your Own Stars, Jessica Spotswood. Her handwriting is really tiny and adorable. And then I also, of course, got Sister's Fate. And she wrote, Liz, Choose Your Own Fate, Jessica Spotswood. So I'm excited to read both of those. I also really like these covers. I don't think the pictures of them online do them justice. They actually have this nice pearly sheen to them, which is awesome. And then on a rainy Saturday, I happened to end up going with some friends to a used bookstore, and I think you know what happened there. If you're thinking I bought books, you would be right. I got a copy of The Card Turner by Louis Sachar. This novel has always intrigued me, so I am excited to finally have a copy and read it. I enjoyed Holes when I was in middle school, so I'm excited to read this one. Next up, I have a copy of Juvie, which is by Steve Watkins. This is about a girl who is super responsible, but when her sister is kind of caught in a drug crime, she winds up taking the blame and going to juvie on her sister's behalf. This is the same author who wrote What Comes After, which I didn't realize when I first heard of this book, but it makes me really excited now that I realize it because I really enjoyed What Comes After. So I'm excited to give this a try. And I half wonder if juvenile detention books are going to become a little more popular in YA because of Orange is the New Black. Maybe not totally because they're kind of different audiences, but we'll see. The last book I got is actually a graphic novel, and that is Peanut, which is by Ian Halliday and Paul Hopp, and I probably just mispronounced both of those names, so I apologize for that. But this is a book about a girl who moves to a new school and decides to pretend that she has a peanut allergy, which leads to all kinds of crazy stuff happening. So it sounds very odd. And the interesting about this novel is, graphic novel, is that there's like little shots of pink all throughout the illustrations. So I'm really excited to give this one a try. And those are all of the books that I have to show you today. So let me know what you think of them all, which ones you've read, which ones are on your TBR pile, and what you've gotten recently. Leave links in the comments so I can come visit your book hauls. That is it for now, and until next time, happy reading!